The eyes are the window of the soul. This was one of the favourite proverbs of one of the dementia residents in one of the dementia units that I worked at. And to this, the other dementia residents would say, yes, we can tell through the eyes if others are telling us the truth. And I used to say to them, well, how can you tell if someone's telling you the truth? And they used to say, because if they're not, their eyes are shifty. Now, with dementia residents, relatives can sometimes think, oh, it doesn't matter if you tell the truth or not to someone that hasn't got a recent memory, they'll forget about it anyway. But that's actually not the case. They get really disturbed and upset when they can feel that someone has not told them the truth. And they will certainly lash out, you know, in the unit and say, you're lying, you're not telling me the truth, you must tell me the truth, it's important. And they'll ring up their relatives as a result of this and try and get to the bottom of things, which of course is very distressing and very difficult. But in terms of eye contact, I used to encourage the residents to use their eyes actually and focus and concentrate. When we had the workshops, I'd write everything up on the board, the topic, the date, the residents' names and their comments, those that contributed, with the aim or try to make sure that everyone had or said one comment or had something to offer in the workshop. 1-2 hours they often were. So it was always, I really did try to get something from every resident. So in terms of using eye contact in this process, if the topic was, say, being positive, a common topic, if one of the dementia residents wasn't speaking, wasn't contributing, was just sort of looking down and depressed and not saying much or anything, I'd go up to them, I'd bend down, I'd look into I'd ask them to lift their face up, look at me, say it's Jim, look at me Jim, open your eyes, look at me, I want you to establish eye contact, which he'd do. I'd repeat the topic and I'd say, now Jim, I just want to get one comment from you, even a couple of words, that's all. The topic is being positive. And can you mention or say something about why to you being positive is important? And give him time to think it through and ask again, got anything for me, Jim? Why is it important to be positive? And he might say, kindness. And then I'd say, fantastic, perfect. Kindness, yes, is one of the most important things. Thank you, Jim. Then I'd go back to the front of the group and I'd say, Jim has contributed a very important comment on positivity and saying how kindness is really important. And to be kind, you need to be positive. I'd embellish it a bit. And dear old Jim sitting there thinking, oh, well, at least I've said something, you know, that's contributed to the topic. And often their self-confidence would go up when the rest of the group complimented them on their comment, which they would, and encouraged them, which they did. And this was the way that things worked. But it was that initial connecting with the person, say Jim, with the eye contact, getting the comment, bringing them in and getting that engagement with the group, which lifted their confidence. So that was one way of using eye contact and facilitating, expecting and encouraging eye contact. The second way was the whiteboard itself. The wonderful, glorious whiteboard was such a huge help with dementia residents because with them having no recent memory, of course, they could still read though, a lot of them. So they could keep track of the workshop topic and the comments by reading the comments, even though they didn't have that recent memory of it. So that way they could continue to be part of the workshop and enjoy it and keep up with it. So I would encourage residents to read the whiteboard. If I could see they were not reading the whiteboard, I would say, now please, everyone in the workshop here, I want you to concentrate, I want you to focus, and I want you to read the whiteboard. It's really important to read the whiteboard and keep up with it. And if they couldn't read all of the comments, then I would read them out and explain them. but most people could read a few words, enough to keep up with the theme, at least the topic, positive thinking, say, and I would just go through and say positive thinking. Sometimes someone would spell it out because they like to spell out the word often before they get it. So I'd get someone to spell it out, say it out loud, the topic, just as long as the residents had the topic in their intellect, in their thinking, in their cognition. That was enough then for them to be able to go on with that. Now, what I found was establishing eye contact with individuals, also expecting and asking dementia residents to keep eye contact with each other. So when they're speaking to each other, I'd say now when you make comment to others, please keep eye contact and establish eye contact. It's really important. So eye contact was a big thing. Now, within these workshops, what happened was that what I began to realise, well, it took some time to realise this, but what I noticed is when they did establish the focus and the concentration to read the whiteboard and establish eye contact, once they established that concentration and focus, they could focus and concentrate once it was established for 2 hours, solid. It was remarkable, much more so than what most of us can. They would just be totally focused, fixated, right there in the present moment, concentrating for a full 2 hours. And relatives coming and noticed, their sparkling, blazing eyes and their focus and concentration. They couldn't believe it. It was really astounding. And what I realized in time, the reason why they're able to focus and concentrate and think in the present moment once they've garnered that concentration, and only when they've garnered that concentration, they're able to hold it because they're not disabled by present memory problems. That's the thing. Recent memory problems or present memory problems. For most of us, the problems of the recent past weigh us down. Why did they say this? Why did they do that? Oh, this happened, that happened, whatever happened. The problems of the recent past weigh us down and distract us from our present moment thinking. But dementia residents don't have that problem because they haven't got a recent memory. So those problems are not there in their thinking. So once they concentrate, they keep concentrating. They're not taken back or drifted back or, dominated by the negative experiences of their recent memory. Those recent problems are not there for them. They just don't remember them. That's a relief. That's an advantage that they have, so that they can think and focus and hold that focus for a long length of time. And of course, they realize they do not want to go back to that dementia stress. They would much prefer to have positive thinking, as they'd call it, quality thinking, present moment thinking, than distracted dementia thinking. So it was a big incentive for them to work on it, which they did, especially as a group. They would motivate and help each other enormously. So all this work and more I've written about in both these books at length. The resident's voice from a dementia unit, for a person going into a unit, the resident's rise, the extension of that. Both books on Amazon and my website, description below. Everything's in the description below. So thank you for your looks and your likes, and please support. Well, actually you are already supporting, so please pass on the links and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you.